So, I was driving home late one night, just your typical Tuesday. I was on this quiet road that cuts through the woods near my house. Nothing but trees on both sides and the occasional deer crossing sign. I always keep my dash cam on just in case something crazy happens, but I never thought I'd need it. As I was cruising along, I noticed a car behind me. At first I thought it was just another driver, but they kept getting closer, way too close for comfort. I tried speeding up a bit, but they matched my speed. It was a dark SUV, and it was almost completely unmarked. The driver's headlights were super bright, making it hard for me to see anything else. I could feel my heart racing as they stayed right on my tail. At one point, I turned onto a smaller road, hoping to shake them off, but they followed me without hesitation. I was starting to panic, wondering if I was being targeted for some reason. I decided to take a risk and make a sudden left into a nearby gas station, thinking I could lose them in the lot. I parked and jumped out, glancing back at the road. To my surprise, the SUV drove right past the station, continuing down the road without stopping. I thought maybe I was overreacting. I filled up my tank, trying to calm down. But when I got back in my car, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The gas station attendant gave me a weird look, but I brushed it off. When I finally pulled into my driveway, I felt like I could breathe again. But when I checked the footage the next day, I saw something that made my blood run cold. The video showed my dash cam capturing the SUV again, parked just a few feet down the road from my house. The headlights were off, and the engine was silent, but I could see the faint outline of someone sitting inside, staring directly at my driveway. I couldn't shake the feeling that whatever that was might have been watching me the whole time. It was around midnight, and I was driving back home from a friend's place, taking my usual route through some back roads. The area's pretty isolated, just miles of trees on either side and not a house in sight. Normally, I like the quiet, something peaceful about it. But that night, it just felt off. So I'm driving, and out of nowhere, my headlights pick up someone standing on the side of the road. It was weird, since I didn't see any cars nearby, or any reason for anyone to be out here at this hour. The figure looked like a man, bundled up in a heavy coat with the hood pulled up. I couldn't see his face clearly, but he was just staring at my car. He didn't wave or ask for help or anything, just stood there, eyes locked on me as I got closer. I slowed down a bit, curiosity kicking in, and glanced at my dash cam, half wondering if it would catch a clear view. But as soon as I drove past him, I felt this relief, thinking, all right, just some random guy. No big deal. But when I looked in my rearview mirror, I saw him step off the side of the road and start walking after me. Not running, just walking. I couldn't tell if he was following or just continuing down the road, but his movements were odd, like he was dragging himself, kind of stiff and slow. My gut was telling me to keep going, so I sped up, hoping he'd fade into the distance. I rounded a bend, figuring I'd left him behind, but just as I came around the curve, there he was again, this time standing right in the middle of the road. I hit the brakes hard, my car stopping a few feet from him. My heart was racing like crazy, and I checked the dash cam again, but there was nothing. On the footage, the road was empty, but I knew what I'd seen. I was staring right at him. Trying to keep calm, I pulled around him, careful not to get too close, and floored it. I kept telling myself he'd be gone once I left him behind. Still, I couldn't resist glancing in my rearview mirror. He was nowhere in sight. I thought I was finally safe until I got home and checked the dashcam footage. When I rewound to the point where I'd stopped, the footage showed him right next to my car window, his face inches from the glass, staring in. I don't remember seeing him there in real life, but on the recording, he was just there. It was a late night, and I was driving home from work along a quiet highway. The road was nearly empty, and my dashcam was recording as usual. I was tired but didn't expect anything out of the ordinary. After about an hour of driving, something caught my attention. In the distance, barely visible in the headlights, I saw a small shadow at the side of the road. At first, I thought it was probably an animal, maybe a deer since they're common around here. But as I got closer, I realized it wasn't any animal. It was a young boy, around 10 years old, just standing there with a small backpack. He wasn't looking at the road or at my car. Instead, he had his head down, staring at the ground. The whole situation felt strange. Why would a child be alone out here at this hour, especially with no houses or businesses around? I slowed down as I passed by, trying to get a better look. My first thought was that maybe the boy was lost or waiting for someone. But the more I thought about it, the more it didn't make sense. There was no reason a kid should be out there in the middle of nowhere. I debated stopping to check if he was okay, but something about the situation felt wrong, like a gut feeling telling me to keep moving. So, I did. A few miles down the road, I glanced in my rearview mirror. To my surprise, the boy was still standing in the same spot, unmoving. That's when it hit me. Something wasn't right. He hadn't moved at all. I thought about calling the police, but as I looked back again, he was gone. Just vanished. It was like he had never been there. I didn't stop. I kept driving straight home, my mind racing. When I parked in my driveway, I still couldn't shake the feeling of unease. I decided to check the dash cam footage to see if I had imagined the whole thing. To my shock, the footage showed the boy clearly, standing by the road as I passed him. But what was even stranger was what happened next. In the video, after my car passed him, the boy remained in the frame for a few more seconds. And then, just like that, he disappeared. 1 second he was there, and the next, he was gone. No movement, no sound, just vanished. Even now, thinking back on it, I can't explain what happened. Was I just exhausted and seeing things? Maybe. But there's something about that encounter that still doesn't sit right with me. I can't stop wondering what happened to that boy.